Hello everyone, welcome to Fableheim and Age of Wonders 4. The secrets of the Archmages' second dev diary and dev stream have been released, and you can find a link in the description to the diary if you'd like to read about the tomes for yourself, or the dev stream if you would like to watch it for yourself. It was a little longer than usual, and there were lots of fun times to be had. This first section of the video will be all about the tomes, or rather 3 of the 6 new tomes, and then the second part will be about the dev stream, and we'll wrap it up with the handy-dandy notebook. So without further ado, greetings, esteemed Gaudier. My name is Luis, a senior designer at Triumph Studios. I am here to share that new tomes have been uncovered, and you too can find them in the first story pack for Age of Wonders 4, Secrets of the Archmages. There's more new tomes on this story pack, but today I'm going to tell you about 3 tomes that can be taken at the start of the video game. And I believe Louis said that there will not be a part 2 for the tomes, so there's only going to be a dev diary on the first 3. So we ended up going over the other 3 in the dev stream, so it'll be in the second part of the video. The Tome of Abjuration! The first of the 3 tomes I will showcase is the Tome of Abjuration. This hybrid order and astral tome focuses on granting your units grace, status protection, and precognition status effects. Yay, more sources of grace. While this tome does not unlock a standard unit, it features a special tactical unit that can be conjured in battle, the Abjurer Pylon. I'm not a huge utilizer of pylons and, magic totems and whatnot, but we'll see. We'll see. I believe... Why do I think this one has the lock next to it? Which is a new feature, by the way. It's a great new feature. There's a lock on some of the tomes, the Tier 1 tomes, that will show you which one you begin the game with, instead of it just being a YOLO random effect. I believe it's in the beta, right? Like most summon towers, the Abjurer Pylon cannot move once summoned. However, it possesses a ranged magic shield support ability that grants 2 stacks of grace and status protection, protecting the unit from negative effects while healing it a bit if it gets attacked. Yay, grace. Also, you could just put it in front of something and have it hit that instead of an actual unit. Oh, look at that. Little ward on the back of an archer. Abjurer Glyphs grants your ranged and skirmisher units a new property called Battle Shields. This provides protection as a unit's health drops in combat by granting precognition, causing the next incoming attack to miss. This effect triggers once the unit reaches 60%, and then again at 30% of its maximum health. That's not going to be infuriating. It'll be fine. We have some glowy hands, it looks like. Or, no, this is the shoulder pads. Shoulder pads glowy. Mage Armor provides exactly what the name suggests. It grants 2 additional defense to your Battle Mage, Magic Fighter, and Support units, making them more durable against physical attacks. But it caps out at 13. Party hard D&D joke. Other spells and unlocks. Curse Reversal, a combat spell that removes and, if applicable, inverts any negative status effects on a single unit. For example, if used on a poison unit, it removes the condition and grants regeneration instead. That can be pretty strong depending on what you're fighting. Abjure Violence, a combat spell with a strong chance to pacify a unit, preventing it from attacking. I think I'm going to pull the number out of my head here. 120%. So I'm going with. The success rate decreases as the target sustains damage, making it most effective against healthy enemy units at the start of battle. We went over this tome last time, I think, so I'm just guessing. City Wards grants a city or free city stability and fortification health. If used on a free city, it grants a small amount of allegiance per turn. Glyph Tower is a special province improvement that provides a stability bonus to the city. This bonus and the city's fortification health increases further for each adjacent conduit. Look at that. I feel like using... I guess this is the only one, but getting rid of Standard Resistance is kind of whatever. You want this for, like, stun, poison, weaken, burning... A whole bunch at once. Also, it's all of them, right? Where was this again? Inverts any. Yeah, good. Tome of Gluttony. Next, we have the Tome of Gluttony, a pure chaos tome. It focuses on empowering your units as they feed upon the essence released by their kills. Hello. Oh, we're looking at the mouths here. Yeah, they used this in the dev stream, but then Thomas hid the appearance. There's a bunch of mouths show up all over you. While I usually start by introducing a tome's unique unit, I want to first discuss the minor transformation Demonic Hunger, as this tome revolves around it. This transformation allows your units to gain the Gorged status effect whenever they kill an enemy. Gorge is a permanent positive status effect that cannot be dispelled and persists after combat. Each stack grants the unit +2 total hit points. Upon reaching 5 stacks, it converts into Demonic Satiation. This permanent property grants the unit +5 maximum hit points and a permanent +5% damage increase. This process can then repeat, allowing units to devour chaos energy and grow stronger. Demonic Satiation stacks up to 10 times, potentially providing a total of +50 hit points and +50% damage. Additionally, these units heal by 25% of their health when participating in pillaging a province. And this persists between battles. Does it say that here? It does say permanent property. So yeah, there's like a little minigame with this tome. How high can you stack the Demonic Hunger? It takes 50 kills. Or there is a supplement. This little fella. To help your units feed, there is the Gluttonous Imp. This new Infernal Fiend unit has a special ability called Imp's Hunger, which grants it a stack of Gorge at the start of battle and whenever it scores a kill. Instead of gaining a Demonic Satiation at 5 stacks, the Imp heals all allies within a 2-hex radius. If those allies have the Demonic Hunger transformation, they also gain a Gorge stack, propagating the effect across your army. See? Although he has to reach 5 stacks, so he looked at this in the dev stream today. Other spells and unlocks. The Infernal Jaws, a single target damage spell. If it kills the enemy, adjacent allies are healed and gain a stack of Gorged. Illusory Feast, the combat spell that inflicts Distracted to a single enemy and has a chance to stun them. This is the starting spell for the toe. Pretty sure. And Corrupt Pact, a sustained strategic spell targeting a free city not at war with you. While active, the city's relations with other players are reduced, and you steal 80% of its food production. I feel like this falls off really hard. So maybe you want to... I feel like this is a tome you begin with. Like, if you're going to get this tome, you should start with it. Just to get Demonic Hunger going as fast as possible, and to get the Corrupt Pact before everything gets, like, slurped up on the map. This tome also unlocks a unique province improvement, the Hungering Maw. It converts 10% of a city's food production into mana and grants the city 50 food whenever you win a battle. We saw this in the stream today. Look at the jaws. The Tome of the Sprites. Did they take this? No, they did not. The third and final tome we are discussing is the Tome of the Sprites. This provides an early entry into the Fey archetype, offering 2 Fey units, enchantments, and Fey trickery. The tome features a summon spell, the Summon Sprite, which allows you to choose between summoning a Morning Sprite or an Evening Sprite. The Morning Sprite is a support unit that inflicts burning and poison with its attacks. Its Morning Boon ability grants regeneration and strength to a target, while removing 1 negative status effect. This unit can evolve into either a Spring Fairy or a Summer Fairy, both of which are the Tier 3 Fey support units you know from the base game, and it was confirmed today that it is random. Surprise! How Fey-like. Conversely, the Evening Sprite is a Battle Mage focused on frost and lightning damage, featuring a debuff ability, Evening Bane, that blinds and slows a single target. Like its counterpart, it evolves into either a Tier 3 Battle Mage, an Autumn Fairy, or a Winter Fairy. Huzzah! Again, randomly. Oh, look at that. It's Navi. Can I do her voice? Hey, listen! That was very good. The tome includes 2 transformations, 2 enchantments. The first, Fey Bond, can be applied to all non-mythic units. It grants 10 morale at the start of a battle and provides status resistance, +2 at neutral morale, and +4 at high morale. So it's a Fey Bond that can be applied to all non-mythic units. Give me an enchantment. Why do you think they didn't just make this a transformation? That's what I thought it was when I first saw it. I don't know. I don't know. Hello, little glittery hands. The second enchantment, Fairy Dust, applies to battle mages and support units. It grants a free action ability that has a high chance to distract, blind, or slow a target unit. It is at random. Again, you can sense a theme, I'm sure. Other spells and unlocks. Captivating Lights, a combat spell that cancels an enemy's defense mode and retaliates while inflicting distracted. I believe this is the lock. So you start with Captivating Lights, which seems really good. It seems great. It's basically the Rock Blast, but inflicts distracted guaranteed instead of doing damage. Which in some instances is more valuable. Catnap, a strategic spell that consumes all movement points from the friendly army, healing each unit by 1 hit point for each point removed from them. And Fey Woods is a forestry province improvement that increases the city's food and draft income, providing additional mana for each adjacent forester. We will see all of this in the dev stream pictures, but hey. I hope you're looking forward to experimenting with these tomes. You can acquire them when the story pack Secrets of the Archmages releases on June 16th. Join Boston next week as he reveals the secrets of the Shrouded Isles. The true secrets of the Archmage. That is all for now, but there will be 3 other tomes to find on the story pack. The Tome of the Cosmos, the Tome of Burning Passion, the Tome of the Weaver, which we will talk about in this section right now. So that was the dev diary. If you'd like to observe this more closely, you can find a link into the description. But for now, it's time for part 2. The dev diary. The dev diary is what we just read. The dev stream. I didn't remember if I took a picture of this, but this is the Moor of the Mist. It's the big central landmark in the Burrow Down story. So I should preface this by saying there will be story spoilers. Sorry, I was late. But if you don't want to hear about the stories, you can skip ahead to the handy dandy notebook, or just, click off, whatever you want to do. Thanks for watching. For the Moor of the Mist, this is the big old fancy landmark. One of the win conditions for the story realm is to capture it, to have it fully encircled. And voila! Bada bing, bada boom. Was this really the next thing? So this is the Temptress. This is a tier 3 battle mage unit from the Tome of Burning Passion. And they talked a lot about her. A lot. There's even notes about her in the handy dandy notebook. But basically, this was... I'm just going to go through some images. They were playing around with her form. This was kind of their attempt at recreating the succubus. Like here. They really wanted to be, like, if you follow the Chaos Tome path, you're naturally going to get Demonkin. And so naturally, Luis told Art, like, hey, I kind of want this to flow into what is the fantasy of a succubus. So, she's very pretty. And we will go over her skills later. But, yeah. Great looking character. I'm very excited to get my hands on her. But, the Federate Reavers have the Sundering Barrage, which, instead of slowing enemies like the Imperial Reavers, will inflict sundered defense. Just the way they are. So the Engaged by Levies, I was a little confused reading the patch notes, because the patch notes made it sound like a unit had to be adjacent to afflict Engaged by Levies, but during the dev stream, they were afflicting Engaged by Levies by shooting them. So I still don't know which is reality. I still have no idea. But I hope it's the attacking thing instead of being adjacent. Drive Back has been buffed. It will now put the unit in defense mode, which I'm assuming applies to both the Federate and Imperial Reavers, because that just makes sense. Here is the Infernal Jaw in action. Is that what it's called? The Om Nom 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 spell. I think we're going to see this spell a lot. A lot. Here is the Tome of the Sprite. Again, we just went over this, so doesn't show the lock here. I think the lock is just when you're choosing it for the first time. But here's what they look like in game. I don't think anything here has more information. You can see all the unit types as effects. Again, I wonder why this wasn't just a minor transformation, but Maika. That's fine. 120% for the Fairy Dust. Maybe I was thinking of this instead of the Pacify. Whatever. It's fine. Maybe they're both 120. That'd be nice. Fey Woods, as you can see, 10 food, 5 draft, 2 mana per adjacent forester. A pretty decent forester, if you're asking me. I mean, a forester itself is... Is it 5 food, 5 draft? 2 and 2 or something? Anyway, good thing. So the reason why we're looking at the Tome of Pyromancy is because the Tome of the Burning Passion was Luis's attempt to kind of expand the Tome of Pyromancy. Because you go Tome of Pyromancy, and then when's your next fire stuff? It's like tier 4. So this is a nice little bridge, and it has burning synergies, and so they were thinking about going for this. This is the new Fiery Imbuement, which was previously known as Fiery Projectiles. Revitalizing Alliance is the kind of support skill for the Federate Reavers. It is very good, especially in larger battles, which they did not get to really see. Here is the Hungering Maw. When victorious in battle, the city gains 50 food. 50 food! Just from fighting. And I'm assuming it's anytime, anywhere. I think that's a crazy amount of food. To just, here you go. This could be very strong. Their ally was defeated. Tunnel Watch fell, so one of Hambinger's friends. Is it Hambinger or Hambinger? I heard both during the stream. I don't know. I hope it's Hambinger. That's funnier to me. Here's a Primal Charger with the Spider's Embrace, which, don't worry, we'll get to take a look at more in depth in un momento. The Declaration of Depth is a Federate Reaver thing. You can play this on the open beta right meow, if you would like to. And the way it works is that you use your favors, which you get from fighting infestations and whatnot, to slowly increase relations with 300 for the ruler. And while the declaration lasts, the affected player will not have any grudge affecting the relation for any of their grievances towards you. That is insane. Majigga Declaration costs 5 favor upkeep per turn, which increases by 5 favors for each additional declaration, and declarations can be made and ended through pronouncements. This also takes the place of the Declaration of Friendship. Which, wasn't that how Declaration of Supremacy used to work, and then they added both? I think. Which is weird, but I'm not going to complain. The seasons shifted. The season of autumn was very cruel to Thomas in his battles. So here's the Court of Autumn, judging the people, which I believe they found them unworthy. I thought I'd take a picture of it. Well, anyway. Here is one of the disciples of the Duatha Day. I believe this is the disciple of Summer. Yes, indeedy. So he has a bunch of whole bonus stats during summer. You don't really want to fight him during summer. Yeah, look at that. Plus 100 HP on a Giant King is disgusting. Oh yeah, here we go. Doomed to die. Unworthy. So apparently when they trigger the Unworthy event, which may just be random, all of the disciples gain free experience. And when it's worthy, it spawns a whole bunch of Mistwalker camps. So, I think this is going to be a really hard map. Although it does play very well with Federate Reavers. They did rescue, or encounter, I should say, Hambinger. His capital's named Lulborough, which is funny. Upon encountering him, he instantly went into alliance and accelerated to the Pact of Cooperation with the Free Cities that are around him. And then the next stage of the quest is to claim the Moor of the Mists. I want to call this the Giasidae, like Code Geass. But I don't think that's correct. Giasidae? Anyway, those are like the not evil fairy gods or something. And yes, upon accepting this quest, either one of these, you will go to war with the disciples. He's already at war with Arachne, so that's why it's not listed in here. But I believe this one gives Morale Minor and the other one gives Imperium or something. They encountered their first breached gate, which will lead to a breached isle. This portal is bound by Soren Goldswing, and it is being taken by Hambinger. And once the breach gate is controlled, they can move it. He moves it right away. I don't know how expensive it is to move it, but just like a whoop, teleported into his base. And Thomas said that you can expand onto them. Okay, that's why you move it into your base. All right, it is time for some of the Imperium tree. We saw some of this previously, but I couldn't remember what we saw, so I just took pictures of all of it. For Chaos, the Tier 2 Otherworldly Reinforcements reduces the summon spells and the combat summon spell combat casting points, or casting points by 25%, which someone pointed out, so I guess we did go over this one. Someone pointed out this is more for like synergistic with demonic summoning, which makes complete sense. I didn't put two and two together at the time, but that makes a lot of sense. Or you can select Specialized Troops, which are research skills that unlock units cost 40% less knowledge. There aren't a lot of unlock units, but usually when you pick up a tome, if it has an unlockable unit, it is a very good unit. Like the Temptress, like the Pyre Warden, like the Avatar of the Cosmos, which we will see later. So I feel like this is probably just the universally good one. Unless you're doing something very specific. Undead, demonic summoning, maybe nature? This would affect the call animals, right? Maybe. For Order Tier 2, the Diplomatic Expertise, you gain +1 Whispering Stone, and Whispering Stones grant +1 Allegiance. I think this is really strong. Ridiculously strong. Or Gold City Infrastructures. What? Gold City Structures cost 25% less gold and production. I was reading these at the same time. I think if you're not doing vassal stuff, this is fine. This is just good. Especially if you get this early on and you're, building up. And again, when it says gold city structures, any structure that produces gold is a gold city structure. It's not just the mine construction path. So, we'll see. The River Manufactorum for the Federate Reavers gives 10 gold and 5 gold income per vassal, which I have been informed is very, very strong. Once you get the ball rolling with the Vassal Swarm, this just prints money. Like our Federal Reserve. Here's the Hungering Maw. It is, you can't see it because this is a still image, but it is undulating back and forth, which is a sight to behold. They encountered the final disciple. This is Lobelia. Luis pointed out that that's a wolf. Because it's, Lobo in Spanish is a wolf. Yeah, it's a doggo. And it's a doggo that Donosk knows. So it looks like you can do something to bring at least one of the disciples over to your side. I don't know if you can for the other ones, but at least Lobelia can become a friend. Possibly, however this plays out. Soren has a Moon Guardian. What is a Moon Guardian? Terrifying. That's all I've got. Also, apparently, a beast. Look at that. The beast build grows ever greater. How could you imagine empowered beast on this thing? What the? 190 health, 10 defense, 8 resistance at elite. So it has at least 3 more levels to go. I think. 2 or 3. 9 status resist, 6 and 4. Okay. The generic part of the Empire tree hasn't really changed at all. I believe all of it's the same except for at the very tippy top, with the whole affinity bonus stuff. But they did pop the Right of the Last Stand, which, as you can see, is now a triangle because it indicates that's repeatable. And each city in your Empire loses 1 population, but immediately summons 3 tier 1 units. I feel like that's not good at all. But they're in a bit of a pickle. So they got the quest to activate the ancient obelisks. This is what opens up the Shrouded Isles, the secret ones. Secret ones. Here is revitalizing Alliance in action. They did not have a mixture in this army. But these are all soldiers. Or levies? No, soldiers. Levies have a little icon above their bubble. Ah, yes. So the Thundering Storm. This happens during the season of Autumn, and it was screwing Thomas over. All units become wet, and 1 random unit takes 20 lightning damage. It is supposed to be random, but it only hit Thomas. So, skill issue? Here is the Gluttonous Imp. All ready to feast upon the souls of his enemies. What the heck is this? Regurgitate has a ranged attack. The line between Skirmisher and Magic Fighter is so blurred for me mentally. Oh, I know what this is. Nope, I don't know what that is. Huh. Oh, maybe I think my folder was like partially on the screen when I was taking screenshots, and that's what it is. That's probably what it is. Anyway, the line between Skirmisher and Battle Mage is so thin. I feel like they're very similar. But he has a ranged attack, a 1-turn cooldown, just do some burning and damage and a magical strike. And he has Imp's Hunger, which is very similar to the Demonic Hunger, except that, of course, when he reaches 5 stacks, he shares Gorged upon people. I can zoom in on this. Oh. Yeah, see, now it's gone. What was this for? I don't know. Hey, he got to fight a golden golem. This is why I usually don't play on high world threat. But, yeah. The construct is immune to Distracted. Who could have guessed? And again, the Thunderous Storm, it zapped his support character and then it killed his hero. I feel for you, Thomas. The tier 2 of the Materium Tree has Land Sculptor, so terraforming spells cost 25% less mana and world map casting points, or Outpost Expertise. Constructing Outpost takes 1 less turn and costs 50% less gold. I this is such a niche talent. I don't know how I feel about it, but, you know, if you are giga terraforming, the thing with terraforming is that the controlled terraforming, like you have to cast a spell to terraform a province or a province adjacencies, is usually not utilized. Like, usually when you're terraforming, you want it to be a thing you plop down, like a sustain spell or a rune steel or, you know, the desecration chamber, and you just let it happen. You don't have to think about it anymore. It just happens. So I feel like this is whatever, even on a terraforming build. That's okay. For Tier 2 Nature, the Prosperous Lands farms grant +3 gold and +2 city stability income, which I think is insane. I love building farms. And I think... Is this more food income? Soil Tenders? I think Soil Tenders was either moved or updated. But yeah, I love building farms, so I think that's just so good. Or Tree Keepers. Foresters grant +2 mana and +2 city stability income. I feel like I would only take this if I was doing... Well, maybe not even then. Typically, Foresters are something I see as sacrificial. They're little, like, draft tools, and I can sacrifice them. I was going to say if you're doing, like, Smithing Guild stuff, but usually if you're doing Smithing Guild stuff, only one of your cities become a Smithing Guild. Unless you're going Materium. Because then you can have 2 guild slots, so you can have a Smithing Guild and a Research Guild, or whatever else you want. So all of your armies can pump. Things to think about. This is the Ancient Obelisk battle map. Why do I keep zooming in? And you can see this is the Ancient Obelisk. And that's a Progenitor Golem. It's as spooky as you may think. And then, of course, you can activate the Ancient Obelisk by sending on it. The Ancient Obelisk is a new, just like, global resource node. +5 mana, +5 knowledge. Well and good. But if you are playing on a realm with the Shrouded Isle modifier, you can activate it one time. Each one can be activated once. Oh, I thought I got a picture of it. To reveal a Shrouded Isle, which is... They weren't sure if a Shrouded Isle was different than a Breached Isle. The blue thingy we saw was a Breached Isle. The Shrouded Isle is super secret or something. So if I understand correctly, the blue ones are just kind of, you know, scattered out and about, and the Shrouded ones are super secret. You have to activate the obelisk for. I think. We'll see. We'll find out soon enough. So here is the Tome of Burning Passion. This is a pure Chaos Tome, which is all about lust and wrath. There is the unit enchantment Blazing Aura, which is applied to pretty much all melee units. At the end of the turn, adjacent enemy units sustain 4 fire damage and have a base 60% chance becoming burning for 3 turns. So some nice directional damage. Typically, I mean, this is pretty good if you're doing a really heavy frontline build, but typically you just want to kill people. You know? The Conjure Orb of Desire is another combat summon. It's like a little pylon that taunts people, but it has the Blazing Aura, but it also has a unique passive where it will 100% reflect any damage it takes. They didn't hover that, but Luis explained it. The Temptress, a magic fighter that can inflict dominate upon enemy units. We looked at her earlier, but here's her magic strike. It does have flanker on it, which is all well nice and good, but she doesn't have the teleport like the Painbringer. And she has the Kiss of Seduction, which is a new type of domination. Target non-hero enemy unit has a base 90% chance of becoming inflicted with Thrilling Domination. If unsuccessful, the target enemy instead takes 20 fire damage and gains 2 burning for 3 turns, and it puts her in defensive mode, which is great. But Thrilling Domination is a new dominate. The unit goes berserk. The unit is controlled by the opponent. If the effect lasts until the end of combat, the controller will have the option to spend mana to keep the unit permanently. I think controlled by the opponent. So I think you take control of it, but it's berserk. I think. Maybe not? I don't know. They just picked up the tome, so they haven't gotten an Temptress just yet. The Thrill of Combat is a combat spell that will make a target berserk and grant it... Did he say all stacks of Infernal Might? So 5 stacks of Infernal Might? Which could be good. I typically don't like spells that make things berserk because, you know, control. But, maybe it'd be good. The Strength Sapping Imbuement is a unit enchantment for skirmishers, battle mage, magic fighters, support, and range units that gives them a base 60% chance of inflicting weaken for 3 turns, and upon success, the unit will gain strengthen for 3 turns. Effects are, of course, increased for single shot attacks. Very good for the Reavers. If they do go into the mage locks and cannons and whatnot. Or I suppose Federates have the magic fighter, the breacher. And last but not least, the Fiery Heart is a minor racial transformation that grants +2 fire protection, critical hit chance, and fire hazard immunity. I don't believe... I didn't get it. This... I don't think this is enough to remove the lava penalties. This by itself. It could be, but I don't think it is. And more crit's always good. But this is meant to combo, you know, with like the Scion of Flame and stuff if you go all the way down the fire path, if you will. The House of Passion is its SPI, granting +10 draft, +6 gold per adjacent farm, and it counts as a quarry. It does require a tier 2 city. The Court of Winter was held. The seasons changed again. And they were worthy. Doomed to live. New Miss Walker camp spawn across the realm. Huzzah! The tier 2 Chaos tree has Might Makes Right. Tier 3, 4, and 5 units gain 5 hit points for each tier 1 and 2 unit in the same army, and tier 1 and 2 units gain +2 XP per turn for each tier 3, 4, and 5 unit in the same army. This feels like something that's better early. And I wonder... Ooh. I wonder if the hero is accounted for this. Because if something affects a hero, the hero counts as a tier 5 unit. You know, heroes are your Wizard King or whatever. I wonder if that's involved. I don't know. Or Battlefield Looting. El Clásico. Gain 3 gold per unit tier of the units killed in combat. I love this to fund my war effort. But this could be really fun. I wonder if you go for the Tome of Gluttony, you're like triple investing. Like the experience gain is good for the lower tier units anyway, but then you go Tome of Gluttony, you're adding on another layer of your tier 1 and 2 units getting really strong. Because, you know, you have the start of it from the start of the campaign to build them up. So I wonder if this would make it even more useful. At tier 3 for Order, Spiritual Conviction, cities gain +10 mana for each city stability above neutral, which is nice. That could be what, +40? I think. Or Cultural Exchanges, gain +4 knowledge per active wizard bond, treaty, or declaration with other empires, and gain +4 knowledge per trade treaty with free cities. So with free cities, you can only have 1 trade treaty at a time. This is whatever. The other important part is if you have allies. So wizard bond, treaty, or declaration. I wonder if this counts like vision sharing. What are they all? Open borders, sharing vision, teleporter pact, province claiming pact. That's 4. Would that be +16 knowledge there? And you get a wizard bond to get to that, so +20. And then maybe defensive alliance, +24. Full-blown alliance, would that replace the defensive and keep it at 24? Or would that go to 28? I don't know. And then you can trade for like magical materials and stuff. This could be really good. If you're not killing everyone. They got the Afflictor from the Tome of Alchemy, which looks absolutely adorable. I didn't get a better picture, but they do look adorable, you have to trust me. As Owlkin, anyway. This is... They pointed this out because the Reaver Manufactorum for the Federate Reavers is the old version, and the Imperialists got an updated version. For reasons. Their second ally has been besieged, and instantly fell, spoiler alert. And then near the end of the stream, they showed off the other 2 tomes, because for this particular build, they didn't plan on going to these tomes anyway, and as mentioned, there is not going to be another dev diary on them. So the Tome of the Weaver is the Tier 3 Shadow Nature Tome, all about spoders. The prophesied ultimate spider build has arrived. The Dread Hunters is a unit enchantment that affects animals and spiders, granting Demoralizer, which... Oh, did I not get a picture of that? Crud. I think this means they will... The enemy will lose 4 morale whenever they're attacked by someone with Demoralizer. And they nerfed / reworked the Tome of the Doom Heralds, the Joy Siphoners, to also grant Demoralizer. So now they have this new system where if you slap Demoralizer on something, they won't stack with each other. So you can't go Doom Herald and Dread Hunters and double dip on Demoralizer. And attacks to deal plus 20% damage against immobilized or frozen targets, which is what immobilized is what all the spiders are about. And for Joy Siphoners, this second line is that they will steal that 4 morale from the enemy. Spider's Embrace is the major racial transformation. This is the Drider transformation. Of course, we can't call it that in game, but for our purposes, this is a Drider. It becomes a spider unit. It has fast movement, and base attacks gain base 30% chance of inflicting immobilized for 1 turn, increased for single shots. Mounted units lose their mounts, and heroes lose their mount and leg equipment slots. The spider tag has existed in the game before, but now it does stuff now, giving you swift and immunity to slowed and immobilized. Conjure Spider Weavers is a combat spell that will conjure 2 Spider Weavers on target and adjacent hex. This one lasts for 3 turns, cannot be used in water battle. We do get to see them later, but they are ranged spiders, which is amusing. Now look at that. 12 repeating. Not too shabby, with I think a chance to immobilize. The Dreadful Bind. Ah, love. What a dreadful bond. Units in a 2 hex radius have a base 90% chance of becoming immobilized for 1 turn, and gain 2 remorse for 3 turns. So worst case scenario, just inflicting remorse. And the Priestess of the Weave. Oh, Priest of the Weave. It's a priestess. See? She has high boots. That was added late, apparently, during the development process at Luis's request. Web Blast is a 12 Blight, 12 Frost single target attack that it has a 90% chance to inflict immobilize. This is a tier 4 support, so these numbers are going to be a little high. Don't be too surprised. Spider Rebirth is a leave 1 AP. Target friendly den unit revives into a Weaver Spider or Hunter Spider unit. If tier 4 or tier 5, revives into a Weaver Spider Matriarch or a Hunter Spider Matriarch unit instead. And the Weaver Spider Matriarch we'll see in just a minute, but she has the same repeating shoot web, just a little more damage, and she has the Weaver's Retreat. And last but not least, the support skill for the support unit is a 1 AP, target-friendly unit heals 70 temporary hit points, and has its negative status effects removed. Full cleanse, 70 heal, single target, 1 turn cooldown. Insane. In the membrane. On top of that, an enemy unit within 2 hexes sustains 15 blight damage and 15 frost damage, and has a base 120% chance of becoming immobilized for 1 turn. My oh my, that is a support unit of all time. Just make an army of these, honestly. And here's what she looks like, spiderified, with the Spider's Embrace. I believe we went through a few variations of this. They were looking for the most cursed option, and honestly, a Chaplain Spider is pretty cursed. The Decaying Zombie was neat. The decaying flesh effect spread to the spider carapace. Here's an insectoid of variety, including the Blood Cultist. And the Spider's Nest is the SPI for this tome, granting plus 20 food, plus 5 draft per adjacent forester or forest, unlocks the recruitment of various spider units, and counts as a forester. I believe Louis said all spiders, but maybe not. We'll see. This is the Weaver Spider, as you can see. This is the Tier 2 variant. Then the Tier 4 variant is, voila, 60% chance to immobilize with its shoot web. I believe it's 30 with the other one. And Weaver's Retreat. Leave 1 AP, adjacent units sustain damage, 10 physical, then teleport to target hex with a 90% chance of inflicting immobilized. Cannot be used in water battles. And this thing, I think is going to be really strong. This is an actual ranged unit. So all of your ranged enchantments will affect it too. It's also an animal. Animals, of course, spiders are animals. So this could be empowered as well. Oh my goodness. I wonder if this will have the animal training tag when it's under a player's control. Because that's what? 10 more health, 10% more damage, and +1/+1? Okay. And last but not least, the Tome of the Cosmos. This is the new Tier 5 tome, the first one we have ever gotten in the expansions of Age of Wonders 4. And it is a little crunk. There is, of course, the Avatar, which is the first Tier 5 unit from a Tier 5 tome. The Baylor used to be, but he got knocked down. So he is equally as powerful. Just sit on that thought for a second. Cosmos Awakening is a unit enchantment for, it seems, everything but Mythic. Again. Enchanted units will gain +1 damage of each damage channel, and +1 protection of each damage channel. Effects are increased for single shots. So that is +1 damage and defense for Astral, Shadow, Chaos, Nature, Materium, and Order. Nice. And the Prismatic Tower is a Throne City structure. A Throne City structure, which reveals the map and grants +25 world map and combat casting points. And for each affinity at or above 5, the city gains 50 of the resource based on that affinity. So Astral grants mana, Chaos grants draft, Materium grants production, Nature grants food, Order grants gold, and Shadow grants knowledge. Now, in order to unlock the Tome of the Cosmos, we did see this last time, but they couldn't find it again. You need either 2 affinities at 6 or more, or you need to have at least 2 of every affinity. Those are your options. Or you have Unbound Tome, which just lets you cheat. I mean, it's not cheating, it's a realm modifier, but you know what I mean. You can just pick whatever you want with Unbound Tome. This is very strong, and it's about to get stronger. This is the Tome of the Avatar of the Cosmos. At level 1, recruit a whopping 150 hit points, 7 defense, 7 resistance, 11 status resistance, and 2 defense of all elements. It's a tanky boy despite being a spellcaster. So the Cosmo Bolts is a repeating range attack at 4, which deals 30 damage of a random channel to a target with breaching. So it ignores 50% of the target's resistance to whatever they're shooting it with. But here's where the fun comes in. Here's where the fun begins. The Cosmos Beam. This is a full action, always hits, units in a 8 hex long and 1 hex long wide line sustain damage. Can't miss. This ability deals damage according to the affinity points its controller has. So it is +2 lightning per astral, +2 fire per chaos, +2 physical per materium, +2 blight per nature, +2 spirit per spirit, and +2 frost per shadow. With breaching, so it ignores 50% of the damage to target's resistance. At bare minimum, this is roughly 36 damage. At bare minimum. And of course, as the game goes on, you gain more affinities. Maybe you cheat out some tomes through events. Maybe you get destiny traits that give you free affinities. This is damage. This is giga damage. And of course, you might go, well, it's a full action, no big deal. Surprise, greater phase. A 6 range free teleport. So you just whoop into position, and I'm gonna fire my laser down the entire army. This is horrifying, and it only gets better from here. Cosmic Resonance, when a spell is cast in combat, gain +2 protection according to the affinity of that spell, and Luis pointed out that if you are doing DLC stuff, if you cast a spell from a dual affinity tome, that will give both elements protection to the avatar. And then we reach the Cosmos Manifest. For each affinity at or above 5, gain the corresponding passive ability. With Manifest Astral, at the start of the turn, within 3 hexes, friendly units heal 5 temporary hit points and gain bolster resistance for 3 turns, and enemy units sustain 5 lightning damage. With Chaos, friendly units gain Strengthened and Fortune for 3 turns, enemy units take fire damage, 5. For Materium, friendly units heal 5 temporary hit points and gain bolster defense for 3 turns, enemy units sustain 5 physical damage. For Order, within 3 hexes, friendly units gain 10 morale, enemy units sustain 5 spirit damage. For Shadow, friendly units within 2 unit... Friendlies within 3 hexes have 2 negative status effects removed, and enemy units sustain 5 frost damage. And with Manifest Nature, within 3 turns, friendly units heal 10 temporary hit points, and enemy units sustain 5 blight damage. That activates once you have 5 or more of affinity, so if you go for the first requirement, you have at least 2 of these going off right away. Which is crazy. This is an insane unit. Luis also mentioned they're not really just out and about. So you won't just run into this all the time, but there may be special locations where they hang out. Thomas wasn't sure. I think he said he's never seen one. And that was the final image I had from the dev stream. I do have some notes with the handy dandy notebook. So, behold the avatar of the cosmos. And, you know, enjoy. So, the Honey Daddy Notebook. As mentioned, the Tome of Burning Passion was designed to be an upgrade to the Tome of Pyromancy, blended with the ideas of lust and wrath. The Temptress was designed to fulfill the succubus fantasy. The Tome of Gluttony is a pure chaos tome because it has ties to the Pit of Azrun's story about its nature consuming life essence rather than actual bodies. Someone asked why it wasn't a nature chaos tome. That's why. There are currently no plans to create more interpretations of the cardinal sins, like the lust and wrath, but Luis is open to the idea if the situation calls for it. I mean, we have Gluttony, too. That's 3 of the 7. Pride, Sloth, Avarice. Can't think of the last one right now. Big fan of Sloth. Even if the Federate Reavers doesn't really make sense, like the naming of that, the culture's name is kind of set in stone for a variety of reasons. Like the promotional material for Empires and Ashes, the scene page, the notations, all that crap. Luis and Thomas agree that there is more room for more Frost tomes. They would love to do it, but hasn't happened yet. Luis's favorite new tome is the Tome of the Weavers, Gaze Boaters, which has actually been in the plans for a long time. They've wanted to do it for a while, but this was the moment because Arachna's here. And Thomas quite likes the Tome of Abjuration and Cosmos. He said he doesn't normally get to late game, so Abjuration was his first thought, but Cosmos is really cool. And I do agree, it's really cool. There are no plans to update the affinities of the old tomes. There they are. Tome of Warning is about Satyrs resistance and reducing damage, while the Tome of Abjuration is about avoiding damage with grace and precognition, and what's not. So, they're similar but different. Thomas's favorite new Gaultier is the new Carissa, which I think is on the scene page, and Luis likes Arachna, who we saw last time. They recorded the owl sounds very carefully as to not upset the owls. I didn't realize they got them from actual owls, but whenever they give it like a move order or something, you hear these little... It's actually very adorable. The Gluttonous Imp does not evolve, although in its original design it did. I'm not sure why they said that was originally cut. Maybe it was just a time factor. The Dire Penguin and the Dire Caster have a new penguin tag on the open beta, but the reason is a secret. What could it be? All new Tier 1 tomes are tied to the story realm. So the Tome of the Sprite is tied to Hambinger. And then, like, in that kind of same thought, Luis mentioned that a Fae... Well, someone asked about a tome path for the Fae, and Luis said, a Fae tome path is kind of wonky right now, and one day he hopes to get the chance to make more Fae tomes to continue to fill it out. Although he did reiterate that there are other research paths that have a higher priority, kind of like filling up the Frost tomes. What do the secret spells do? They're secrets. Normally, the obelisks are the only requirements to access the secrets. You know, activate 3 of them, whatever. But the Burrow Downs also require meeting Hambinger, which they did eventually. There are 14 secret spells, 1 tied to each story realm, and 11 other ones. There you go. Tome of the Cosmos does not have its own Age of Magic victory. Instead, it unlocks all 6 of them. So you have your choice. Secret spells can be taken as an ascension trait in the wake of your victory. That'd be pretty cool. Depending on what they do, I guess. Luis took a brief break from the stream, and when he returned, Thomas asked who he killed, and he said he could not tell us. This, of course, was a joke for legal reasons, but, you know, he's back. It sounds like we will not be seeing a Tomes Part 2 Dev Diary, which I don't think we will. Luis said it twice, so that probably means it's happening, or not happening. A machine/construct transformation is on the table for the future, but the devs don't know when. And they don't really know how at the moment. An internal tester... Oh, yeah. So originally the Priests of the Weave had... The Priest of the Weave, excuse me. Had like these medieval shoes, Luis described them as. An internal tester asked for the Priest of the Weave to have leather boots. But Luis didn't think they focused on her feet much because she almost looked at the spider transformation anyway. We were, of course, excited to see that she does have the high leather boots in the current version of the game. Luis's favorite new unit is the Avatar of the Cosmos. That's kind of a cheating answer because it is cool. We put furries where our mouth is. No context. The devs would love a moth form of some sort. The primordial pyromoth was originally something else, but the art team came up with the cool moth design. There is a giant king in the Pit of Azurn story realm that uses the Tome of Gluttony. Yay. Someone asked for a steampunk culture, and they kind of went on to explain that making machine/construct transformation stuff is a little difficult to create as like a modular design. Everything has to be really... It doesn't have to be, but everything they were going for is kind of like unique-ish and need to be modeled a bunch, which is always a major limiting factor for them. The original Nomad design was a bit more techy, and there's been an ongoing discussion about adding more animals to Primal, but Luis doesn't know if that's going to happen. There's been some discussion about like returning or expanding previous expansions, but they don't like to go back to DLC. And I mean, I can understand that. Like, you know, they have to consider all their player base, like those who just have the base game, just those who just have 1 or 2 expansions. It can be difficult. Bunny Girl Cat Ear Temptress available now, if you so desire. All new tomes have an associated ascension trait. The Tome of Gluttony grants your ruler a combination of demonic hunger and imp's hunger, where they will stack up satiation like regular, but then gorge like regular, and then it will evolve into demonic satiation for them, but it will also spread like the imp. This will also allow other God-Ear types to partake in the stacking if they are ascended. So if you're playing a Dragon Lord and you ascend with the Tome of Gluttony, you now have the demonic hunger. So if you play again, your Dragon Lord can feast alongside his people. Which sounds insane on a Dragon Lord, honestly. There are limits to how many secret spells appear on a single Shrouded Isle realm, but they had no idea what they were. Many things go into the development of a tome, starting from the theme of the DLC, what players want, what Luis wants, what's missing from the game, what is cool, what's balanced, and how the tome can lead to or mix with pre-existing tomes. The devs have a wish list of content that they would like to work on in the future, but of course all that's just wishing. Thomas would like a Dragon Lord 2 Electric Boogaloo, and do more stuff with the Pantheon, but both are difficult in their own ways. Luis would like to create more unit-like lords like Fey Lords or Fiend Lords or what have you. And the devs recently had a brainstorming activity about a Forest Spirit Lord leader type thing and how they would create it, but the result was mostly about how difficult the idea would be to implement. So, that may be a distant future thing. We'll see. I know people have asked for like Fey Lords and stuff before, and I think it would be really cool. Luis derives a lot of his inspiration from reading fantasy novels and D&D, which is a fair source of inspiration. Someone asked what class they should pick for God-Ear, like someone as a newer player, and the dev said, go Warrior with an Unga Bunga shock weapon. Also, don't play on High World Threat, which I completely agree with. Luis's favorite series is Stormlight Archives and Cosmere. I don't actually know what Cosmere is. He is currently reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, which he is really enjoying. Someone asked if there could be a Materium Nature Tome called Mountain Dew. Probably not. Thomas would like to polish/expand the ambition system. And he's not really happy about the objectives that are required to further your ambition, because some are super easy and some are really niche. But Thomas's original idea was a little more complex and had to be simplified due to UI bloat. So, the Governor and Ambition system also are kind of tied together, so it'd be difficult to separate the two. There have been talks about the Pantheon being more deeply integrated into the game and not just a character storage system, but there are no current definitive plans. Apparently during the original design it was attempted, but it was abandoned for one reason or another. They never explained. Dinosaur expansion someday on Luis's wish list, so maybe, possibly. I'm down for dinosaurs. There could very well be more like low magic or anti-magic tomes if it fits the situation, and Luis said that creating the Tome of the Warband was already quite difficult. And for some reason, if a tome isn't magical, people ascribe odd logic to it. Like, for example, the example they gave was, hey, this provides a buff, but how is it buffing if it's not magic? You yell really loud, I guess. I don't know. If the Tome of Gluttony bites you, you should bite it back. Apparently, and that's not considered kissing, we were told. The Temptress has a unique passive that can cause you to become distracted when it attacks her, the Curse of Desire, I think it's called. They didn't hover it, but they talked about it. The Ursine form would be really cool. I agree. Bears. And the Tome of Alchemy and Gluttony rank pretty high on the list of unethical tomes. And arguably, Linked Minds is unethical, because you're forcing your culture to become a hive mind, but it is once again ethical once everyone has linked their fetishes together. Or something. The discussion really derailed after the Temptresses got involved. Akama mentioned how frail magic fighters feel, but they are kind of meant to be that way. They're kind of meant to be frail. They're not meant to be the super tanky frontline, because then they'd be just a little OP. A little bit of doing too much everything. But that, my friends, was everything in the dev diary and everything I spotted/heard in the dev stream. Again, if you would like to peruse the dev diary or the dev stream for yourself, you'll find a link in the description down below. Thanks for watching. Feel free to let me know what you think of the tomes. We got to see all 6 of them in different ways. And potential secrets, potential madness that could be hiding next time. They will probably, they discussed starting a new realm because they're kind of getting their butt whooped. High world threat. It'll get you when you least expect it. So maybe next time we'll see a new world threat, a new realm. I think they're going to get off the story realm and just do a realm with the Shrouded Isle modifier, because next week they're talking about the Shrouded Isle, so I won't have to warn you about spoilers and forget about it and warn you too late next time. But thanks for watching. I do hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to the patrons and the channel members who support channel. I greatly appreciate you. If you would like to stay up to date with anything happening on the channel, feel free to join the Discord description down below, and I see you next week.